I used to think the problem with my photos was the camera. And then I went to Switzerland and Italy and dragged a DSLR camera, lenses, the whole setup, 18 pounds. And I came home with maybe 10 photos worth keeping. On the other hand, my wife's iPhone, hundreds. And the bigger issue wasn't even the photos themselves, it was the experience. Carrying that camera around all day got in the way. It pulled me out of the moment. On the next trip, we decided no camera, just our iPhones. And honestly, it worked. We got great photos. We enjoyed the trip more. Everything was easier. So at that point, the question became, why not just stay there? Why not just use an iPhone and be done with it? The answer didn't show up until later, when I tried to take one of these photos, the ones I really liked, and turn them into something more. To print them on large format, frame them. And that's when some of the things broke down. They looked great on the screen, but not at scale. Grain, softness, just not what I expected. Now, to be clear, this isn't about saying you can't take great photos with an iPhone. You absolutely can. For what I wanted, it wasn't enough. And that's what started all of this. Not buying a camera, not YouTube, just a simple question. What am I missing? I spent the next couple of years trying to figure that out, watching what other photographers were doing, trying to understand why some images held up and others don't. At first, I thought I knew the answer. Bigger cameras, more megapixels. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized I'd be right back where I started. Big camera, big lens, same problem, a lot of gear to carry around. We had planned a trip to Australia and New Zealand, and I really didn't want to drag a large, heavy camera around and the lenses that went with it. I didn't want a big solution. The answer, as it turns out, was to look at a Micro Four Thirds solution. So I began to do research on that and to hear what other people were saying about it, the good and the bad. My biggest concern was whether or not that camera solution would generate for me good enough pictures that can be blown up and printed. I'm here to tell you a year later, yes, you can. A little over a year ago, I purchased an OM1 Mark II. And here's the important part. The camera didn't make my photos better. Learning how to use it did. Over time, I started getting better results. Not every time, but consistently. And more importantly, I started to understand why I was getting those better photos. I've always had an interest in photography, but most of what I've done has been accidental. Auto mode, point and shoot, hope it works. Sometimes it did, a lot of times it didn't. What changed over the last year is that I've started paying attention, learning, making mistakes, trying to understand what actually worked. This channel is not about pretending I have photography figured out. It's about learning in public, making mistakes, studying what went wrong, and slowly becoming more intentional behind the camera. If you want to learn with me, learn from my mistakes, and follow the process of getting better, please subscribe and join Field Study. I'm Peter Kreger.